Welcome to Divorce TV, and we've got another excellent show for you tonight or today, depending on where you are watching it. We have our expert interview with Baba of Present Dads, a shared story with Leila Parviz, who is a peacemaker, and healing with Susan Cowe-Miller, our health coach. I think she's going to do some vigorous tapping with us tonight. So to start with, let's bounce ahead with the news. So the Telegraph has a fantastic headline. Divorcing couples paid £500 to stay out of court. It says divorcing couples are to get £500 of taxpayers' money to go to mediation rather than court in a bid to avoid irretrievably fracturing their families. Now, first of all, I could only find this in the Telegraph, so hopefully some of the other newspapers are going to catch up with it, especially because not everybody reads the Telegraph or has a subscription, so you can't actually read it unless you get your subscription. Also, I'd like to point out this is a good investment for the government. It makes sense to keep people out of court. I don't think it does the taxpayer any favours having people fighting it out in court. So I just thought I'd correct the tone of their article a little bit there. The Ministry of Justice is for the first time to provide tax-free vouchers to separating couples so that they can try to resolve their difficulties amicably rather than go through a potentially damaging court battle. It is setting aside £1 million for up to 2,000 couples to pay for mediation, where they can agree custody and contact with their children, share out their assets and money, and agree any maintenance arrangements. So Albert Square Mediation, their family team, they welcome this recent announcement by the UK government's courts minister, confirming that with effect from the 1st of April 2021, up to 2,000 couples involved in family breakup can apply for the £500 grant to pay for family mediation. I bet everyone else in America, everyone else around the world is really jealous. So we're really, really lucky for this. We've never had anything like this before. The UK Courts Minister, Lord Wolfson QC, is on record as having confirmed that mediation is often a quicker, cheaper and less stressful way of resolving disputes, which helps separating couples reach amicable agreements without an unnecessary and often acrimonious court process. Additionally, the Ministry of Justice has undertaken research which suggests that 1 in 5 of the family breakup cases involving more than 50,000 children each year could be resolved outside courts. More than 70% of couples using mediation services resolve their issues outside of the courtroom. Now, although it may be argued that the UK government has only belatedly acknowledged what many others already consider to be self-evident, Lord Wolfson's initiative confirms just how effective and valuable mediation is, both to private individuals and to government. Albert Square Mediation Plus trusts that in the light of these unequivocal confirmations, Lord Wolfson and his colleagues will shortly confirm that further family mediation funding will be made available, and in liaison with the family judiciary and family mediators, he will urgently enact a comprehensive legislative framework, something that will confirm that he has the full support of his colleagues in government. This is the hope of Paul Sanford, who's the head of Albert Square Mediation, and I hope he's right that they will use this as like a trial run and then give more money out, because it's going to benefit so many families, and it ultimately will benefit the taxpayer as well. And just to round off that story, Austin Chessel is one of the mediators at Albert Square Mediation, and this quote from one of his clients really sums up for me just how much you can get out of mediation. This client was called N. Knightsbridge, and they said that mediation with Austin provided a calm and confidential space for us to discuss these things. Austin helped us to clarify what we wanted, made sure that each of us could speak and be listened to, and kept us focused on what is possible for the future. We were able to agree quite quickly. The arguments on these points are over, and we are now moving on. Isn't that just what everybody wants when they get divorced? So mediators, come on to shared stories and tell everyone tales of your successful mediations. I think it really is time to speak out, because there are so many of them, but I think the general public don't always hear those stories. Now on to a couple of less happy people divorcing. Maybe they should be using mediation. We have got here in the Daily Mail The headline, I'm trying not to hold on to feelings of resentment and betrayal. Jack Garrett announces he is getting divorced from his wife Sarah after 2 years of marriage. The singer, 29, took to Instagram to tell his followers he was feeling tired and anxious as he negotiates the divorce without holding on to unhealthy feelings of resentment and betrayal. Jack married Sarah in August 2018 and previously credited her for the support she gave him when he contemplated suicide during the darkest moments of his life. Jack admitted that things came to a head during a trip to New York with his then fiancée, now estranged wife Sarah. He said, "We had a great time, we were enjoying the perks of the life that comes with doing this, and we returned home feeling full, but then the silence was deafening. I just broke down. No love for myself existed in that moment. I had no love for my wife or my family. It was just all self-loathing." He continued, "That night my wife was amazing and she took care of me and picked me up off the floor." The musician has been vocal about having therapy, but said it has by no means resolved his mental health issues. 4 years ago, Jack became one of the only 4 artists to win both the Brits Critics' Choice Prize and the BBC Sound of 2016. The others are Adele, Sam Smith and Ellie Goulding. So my question to you is, and please put it in the comments, have you been supported by an ex-spouse or someone you're divorcing at the moment, that you remember that when you were really down there was something they did that was amazing, that possibly saved your life by doing that, which it sounds a bit like this could have been this case in this instance. So whatever sort of bitterness and anger you might be going through now, what do you think you should focus on? The what you're feeling like now, or remembering what they were like then and what they did for you, and understanding that what you're going through now is temporary. But focus on the good stuff. Use the mediation and get through it. But yeah, mental health issues, big issue for a lot of people, and it can be particularly stressful in divorce. And last but not least, we've got a story here about Jessica Simpson, saddened beyond belief with dark details of Nick Lachey divorce. I don't even know how to say his name. This is one of those slightly non-stories, but I'm going to read it to you anyway, because it does come up with a particular thing that I think a lot of us have experienced. Jessica Simpson has shared more details of her divorce, and she hits out at him for moving on so quickly after they split. Now that can hurt, right? Pop it in the comments if you know what that feels like. The 40-year-old singer has updated her memoir, Open Book, which might be what this article is really about, with a new paperback version, and has shared more dark details of her split from ex-husband Nick, 47. Jessica hit out at Nick, saying that she was disappointed at how quickly he became romantically involved with his now wife, Vanessa Lachey, less than a year after they had split. And as you can see in the picture, he does seem to be very happily moved on. According to Entertainment Weekly's preview of the book, Jessica wrote, "So Nick, you're with another already. Seems that you forgot the love you spoke to me." She added, "I'm saddened beyond belief, alone in the dark, with no one to call my own." But you have got a book out, so it's not so bad, is it? The new revelations came less than a year after Jessica first released her memoir, which went into detail about her breakup from Nick. And I'm not joking. I do know it's very hard when the other person moves on. I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm just not too sure about what's going on with this article. She admitted that her marriage was not perfect, but for the purposes of television, she said they wanted to make it look that way. In the book, Jessica wrote, "I had the Instagram girlfriend syndrome before it was a thing, and I wanted the world to see my husband in the best light because I was hopelessly in love with him." After marrying in 2002, Jessica revealed that her successful career played a part in the downfall of their relationship. She wrote, "I didn't want to outshine him because that's just wasn't what I knew. He seemed so much older than me, my guide and everything. I wanted him to feel like he could show me all that he knew about the business, about the world." Jessica filed for divorce in 2005 and claimed that Nick had a harder time during the split, portraying himself as a victim in a documentary the following year. I think she's being the victim now. So what right do we have to be angry because someone moves on quickly after we've divorced them? That's my question to you. Personally, I know it's painful, but the sooner they're happy and moved on, then that's better. You don't want someone hanging around being miserable because of you divorcing them, do you? I don't see there's any benefit to that whatsoever. So let's move on now to meet our expert. Welcome to Baba. And so to start with, I'd love you to tell me a little bit about what is present dads?
Thank you very much for having me tonight. Present Dads came out of my journey, and that was the journey of burning myself out, trying to be successful financially, climb the career ladder. And then I burnt myself out, and I went on a journey of learning what to do, what not to do. I came out on the other side, and that was through some costly mistakes and a long period of time. But after coming out on the other side, I realized there were other dads that love their family. They want to be present in the lives of their children, but there is this constant battle of career, meeting the financial needs of the family, their own health, and also career and family. So, Present Dads is all about having all round success without the burnout, stress, and overwhelm. So, dads could be there for their families.
So I imagine that's going to do two things. One, it's going to make the marriages healthier because having a dad who's really present for the children really does help the mum enormously, and also for those that have split, then it's even more challenging, isn't it? Because you've got your two families to support you and the family, and limited amount of time with the children. Perhaps it's very, very difficult. Do you find that you support both dads who are in both types of situations?
So, primarily, most of those that I've found myself working with have been those that are still in a family. And I suppose working with me, also through my own experience, has helped marriages not to go to the point where they're separated. But fundamentally, the principles, what we go through, is effective whether they're still together or they're separated. And I'll probably say it's even more needed for people that are now single parents. I don't know if that's a right term to use, because there is extra pressure on them, to, go through what they're going through on top of being the dad, being the mom, and the work, and life still continues.
And you said you made some mistakes, and as we all have, learned from your mistakes. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about some of those experiences.
So one of them is thinking, if I can just get through all of these emails, if I can just work a little bit harder, I'll hit the next milestone, I'll achieve this next thing on my to-do list, without really stepping back and asking myself, why do I want this? What is the motivation for wanting this? Why has this crept up on my to-do list? We all talk of to-do list, we have organizers, but what if that organizer, what if the things on the list are not really what should be on the list? We will find ourselves chasing our tails and wasting precious time on things that are not important at all. And it's almost like being on the treadmill. Going, you are doing a lot of work, but in terms of physical distance covered, you are still in the same spot. So I think a lot of people find themselves where they are spinning the wheel. And then we think, if I can just work harder, if I can just grind, which is what we feel we should do, but it's really counterproductive. So sometimes just stepping back, taking a breather, and just looking at things from a new paradigm does help a lot.
And of course, now with the whole COVID, trying to work from home, and that if you've got the kids around or you've got them for the weekend, that must add even more issues. Because I do remember that I needed to start putting family in my diary and saying this is the time I'm supposed to give them, because I found it very, very difficult to be present a lot of the time. I was too busy doing too many other things, trying to make everything work and juggle. So, and I know for dads, it's a huge issue because they've got all that financial responsibility as well quite often. So, what kind of advice do you have? Do you have any sort of specific little ways of helping them be more present that you can recommend briefly on this in this little section we've got here?
So I will start with an analogy, and that's where you have like a bucket and you've got stones, you've got a rock, you've got sand, you've got water. You want to try and fit everything into that bucket. Now, what we do sometimes is to try and push the stone, put the sand in, and then we're struggling to get the big rock inside the bucket. But if we do fix, I mean, just imagine with me for a minute, if we're able to put 3 or 4 big rocks in a bucket, there will be spaces on the side to have the stones, the pebbles go through. And even when we think we're done, there'll still be space for the sand to go in. When we think we're done, there'll still be space for water to go in. So that is really about what are the big stones, what are the big rocks in our lives. And I dare say our health is important, our family is important. Um, those two, everybody has got to define what is most important to them. And the thing is, once we are able to fit those in, there is always space for other things. And in practical terms, I think, especially for us men that find fulfillment in our work, family first, and as you said, scheduling time for the family is very, very important. And also giving ourselves grace to, we won't get it right. Kids will come in while you're having a very important business meeting. It's okay. Let's stop putting undue pressure on ourselves, unrealistic expectations. What you could do before COVID, life has changed. Don't add the extra pressure on yourself. So I'll say pressure, give ourselves grace, and make time for the family.
And finally, are you able to share a little bit more about your what would have been the consequences if you hadn't managed to work out how
Whew.
to turn things around? And how did you know to turn things around? What inspired you to do that?
So I wasn't sleeping for about 6 months, about a period of about 6 months, where I was only going on 2 or 3 hours at most. And that was my body telling me things were out of sync, things were not going right. I lost my appetite, became irritable. Um, and it was all of those things together. But guess what I was doing? I was trying to catch up on emails and all of that. But it just came to a point where I just could not push it any further. And that was the revelation moment where I knew things really did need to change. I think if I didn't have a change, it would have affected my health way more, mental health. I don't know, maybe it will end up getting to blood pressure and all of that because I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't feeding very well. And it did affect my relationship, but thank God for my wife and the fact that I was able to realize things needed to change. So, very extreme case, I think not being present, not looking after our mental health could lead to family breakdown, could lead to
Yeah.
health breakdown. And more importantly, the kids are going to grow up. The next minute, they're in uni, they're about getting married. And when you finally make all the money in the world and you go, okay, now I have time for the kids, they're just grown and they don't want to be in the company of dad or mom. And you've just lost on the opportunity of making memories with them.
That's beautifully put. Thank you so much, Bella. That's really lovely, and I hope you're going to put some links on the show when I send them to you later in the comments on the different platforms so people can find out more.
Sure, I will. Thank you very much for having me. Have a wonderful rest of the show.
Thank you so much, Bella. That's great. Yeah, I mean, mums, dads, we often try to do too much, especially when we're single parents. So that was some very, very solid advice. And definitely your mental health is at serious risk if you're continually not getting enough sleep and not having any time for yourself and your family. Quick a look at the QR masterclass. There we go. There we go. We have Set Free. Right, what am I talking about here? This is part of the Divorce Masterclass and Divorce Discovery Voyage, which you can find in the Best Way to Divorce app. And here we are on Set Free, which is part of Navigate by the Stars section. I think this might even be the last part of that section. What do I mean by this? Right, how do we know what freedom even is my question. So not knowing what the future will bring results in uncertainty and fear. If you're about to set off on a voyage, you may not know yet what strange lands you will discover, but you will make sure you have a good compass and some kind of map. That's kind of what we give you through the Best Way to Divorce app, right? And through this masterclass. But you also need that desire to explore, a willingness to be open to a life that is fulfilling and fun. So that can be a challenge in the middle of a divorce. So let's use this as a catalyst then for you to work out what it is you really want and what fulfills you, what brings you joy, because you're not going to move forward if you haven't worked those things out. This is where a good life coach can be very valuable, as well as getting out there to try new things and new aspects, find out new aspects about yourself. Maybe join a choir, a local drama group, take up a team sport, dance, you can still dance online, or begin a course in something that interests you. There are lots of free courses online, and maybe one that may lead to you retraining and going to university. So the world needs you to discover what your gifts are. These could be maintaining a happy home and bringing up well-adjusted children, as long as that gives you the satisfaction such a role deserves. But if you want other things as well, then find out what that more is for you. If you don't, the world will miss out, and that would be a terrible shame. So we're going to have our shared story. I'm really looking forward to introducing a fellow peacemaker. Hang on, give you this one first. I nearly missed your intro out there, and I'm just going to unmute you now and welcome Leila. It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. And can you just tell everyone where you are at the moment in the world?
Thank you, Susie, for having me. I'm from California, Orange County, kind of close to LA. It's Southern California, and I'm so happy to be at your program.
And to start with, I'd love you, this is our shared story. So whose story are you going to share? Is it a personal one?
Yes, it's a personal one. I don't think it could have been any better timing to have this program, because it's been 30 years that my own parents got divorced. And you would think 30 years is a long time, but it's not. I mean, even to this day, all of us have been affected. And that's why I am very passionate about educating people and encouraging them to choose amicable, future-focused divorce solutions. Because, if you have a bad relationship that can be repaired by therapy, or things like that, divorce is going to happen. But how you divorce determine your future. I remember sometimes, for example, my parents tell me, "Oh, we are family," or "Oh, you're my daughter. I'm your mom. You should talk to me," or "Why you're not like other kids do this or other kids do that, like normal kids." And obviously I don't tell them anything, but in my head, I'll tell them, no, we are not family, because the minute you decided to choose to get a divorce and lash out your anger and frustration on us by mouthing each other in front of us, we stop being a family. And it was very recently I read somewhere from a judge, which was saying that anytime a parent badmouth the other parent in front of the children, it's kind of like you are telling one half of that child is bad. And it really resonated with me. And when both parents do that, it basically means your entire being as a child was bad. You are nothing. And I'm not a psychologist, but I can tell you it has huge psychological, it affects your self-confidence, it affects your self-esteem, self-worth, and it takes a lot of time and recovery to heal yourself. So
You know from personal experience the damage. Yeah, and the other thing it does is you know that they're your role models for relationships. So
Yes.
and the healthiest thing you can do, and which you've demonstrated, and it is really healthy, isn't it, to say that's not how families should be, because a lot of people don't get to that point. That becomes what families are, and they then repeat the pattern almost on a subconscious level. And I'm not a psychologist either, but it's, you know, everybody knows this stuff, except sometimes perhaps for the families who are divorcing, and it's a tragic thing. But if we can learn from our parents' mistakes, then we don't repeat them, and that's the best we can often hope for. But I'd before we talk a bit about what you do as a family peacemaker, I'd love to know a little bit more about you know, what are perhaps give some other examples from your own personal experience of what it's like to have parents who were basically verbally attacking each other.
So it couldn't be like necessarily like in front of you. They can say something bad about them, just it's between me and, like, let's say the other parent, then the other one might not be present. But it's very hurtful, because I remember a lot of times, you know, my dad would say something bad about my mom, and then so next time when, let's say, my mom would call me, even though I was excited to talk to her, when I would pick up the phone, I would start like talking so rude to her, because my dad was there, and I wanted to kind of protect myself as a little kid, telling him, hey dad, in an indirect way, I'm in your team. So, you know, examples like this, just to show loyalties, and just thinking that, you know, I think people that judge said it well, you know, basically one half of you just feels like bad.
Yeah, I always say to people, look at, remember there must be a part of a half of your ex, however horrible they might be now, that you still love, because that's what the bit you see when you look at the child. And if you cannot see that, then you're not loving your child 100%. And that's what I believe to be true. So it was interesting what you just said there, because you know, a lot of people talk about parental alienation, people becoming more aware of it, and it is a massive problem. But sometimes it isn't even the other parent directly trying to turn a child against the other parent, but simply by bad mouthing the parent, and the child wanting to be you know, accepted by that parent, they replicate that behavior. Children copy parents, that's what they do. They're kind of wired to do that, and you can see how quickly that can happen. So this has led to you kind of dedicating your life to making sure that doesn't happen, in a way, isn't it? Tell us about being a family peacemaker.
Yes. So I am here to not blame my parents. You know, I'm here today being a full-time peacemaker and a different kind of attorney because of this journey. But I feel like, you know, I am sharing my story so that even if one parent hears this today and just envision his or her future and say, okay, what kind of a relationship I want to have with my child 30 years from now? And, you know, even improve one child's life as a result of this, you know, someone listening to this conversation, I think I have done my mission. And, you know, the name of the company that I work in is called Family Peacemaker, and our practice is exclusively out of court. We do mediation and collaborative, which are both family focused, future looking approaches to divorce, where we look at a family's interest and family's specific situation in resolving the dispute of that specific family.
So you don't go, if somebody says, I want to go to court, if you got Angelina Jolie with you, she wouldn't be able to use your firm, basically.
No.
No.
So,
and there are some, I know there are some particularly individual collaborative lawyers in the UK, not that many, who just don't do court anymore, but far too few, I have to say. So I think it's fabulous that you've made that commitment as a firm. And my last question to you is, do you get enough work through that, because some people in California might go, well, you won't make as much work and make as much money as if you're going to court, but that's just not really true, is it?
So we get enough work, but for the same amount of work, I have to be honest, like if I were to litigate, I would have made much more money. But I'm not here for the money. I think money will come eventually, but I want to be in restructuring families, not to destroy families.
That's beautifully put. Thank you so much for coming on. And it'd be lovely to have you back on the show. I'm sure you've got other stories you can share.
I would be more than happy to. Thank you for your time, Susie.
Thank you. See you soon. Well, positive stuff over in California, because that's a place where, unlike in the UK, you're not supposed to go to court without at least checking out mediation, going to a MIAMS, a mediation information assessment meeting. But in California, you don't have to. Your lawyer doesn't even have to tell you about those options. So it's fantastic that those family peacemakers are there making a stand for peace. Very briefly, you know all about the app, I'm sure. There's a QR code. You can go bestwaytodivorce.online, takes you straight to it. And the bit I was going to pick out today is Divorce Financial Workshop Welcome Pack. You might see there at the bottom. It is because my other workshop's already basically full. So this is the one that's happening in June. So if you're in the UK, this will be a great one. Love to run one of these in California. So I've been... if you're interested in talking about that, please get in touch, because the more we have these around the world helping people understand how to make dispute resolution really work well for them, the better. And here is the upcoming workshop, 17th of June. It's although it's for the UK, if you're in America and you want to understand better dispute resolution options, there's still, you get a lot out of it as well. But we've got some places left on that still, so come and join in and we'll have a great workshop. And we're going to now get ready for a vigorous tapping routine. So prepare yourself, and I'm sure you're going to feel amazing afterwards. Hello, Susan.
Oh, hi.
And just making sure we got the sound right there. So you're here, and have I got that right? We're going to do some vigorous tapping.
Well, it's going to turn out as vigorous, stimulating tapping.
Stimulating, that's a better word.
Stimulating, yes.
Excellent.
Stimulating. And I'll be asking if they actually felt a difference. We shall see.
And are you working on any particular area?
Basically, feeling that you're managing your life and you're feeling alive and assertive and empowered to maintain your self-preservation and accountability. You know, that you're taking a breath and
feeling good. Right, excellent. Right, I'm all ready for it. I shall let you take it away.
Okay. So as Susie said, we're going to do some slightly boisterous rounds of tapping, but nothing wild. And I'm going to sneak in a sway test to check if you're aware that your body's taken on a higher vibration, a higher energy opportunity. We're going to see how speedily you can go from a pretty low statement to feeling alive and, as I said, assertive and empowered, with a willingness to maintain self-preservation and accountability for things that are going on. I trust that you'll feel an energy change as we do the quick fix version of tapping. And please, you can practice this every day should you find the sense that it's of benefit to you. So please only repeat the statements when I say them. You don't need to use the words like side of the eye, underneath the eye, which I'll state during our first round. We're using fingertips gently, tapping on energy channels, energy meridians of the body, And acupuncturists use these body channels, and we tap gently. And we'll start with the lower vibrational feelings. We start with a negative, moving into a positive statement. And we're going to tap on the karate point ever so gently. And remember that you can chop and change sides of your body that you're tapping on, or the hands that you use. You'll see me doing that. Please repeat. Even though I can feel burdened as I navigate this divorce journey, I love and accept myself as best I can today. Even though I can feel burdens as I navigate this divorce journey, I love and accept myself as best I can today. Now we're going up to the top of the head point, and it's good if you say these phrases out loud. Feeling burdened. Side of the eye. Feeling I have so much I could be doing. Side of the eye. I feel the weight of this. Where do you feel this heaviness sitting in your body? Close your eyes for a moment. You either feel it or you don't. You don't need to go hunting for it. I feel this weight where? Then underneath the eye. This feeling feels like, what does it feel like? Does it feel heavy? Has it got a colour? We try and bring in all our senses to the feeling that we have, and we will be giving it a number as well. Now underneath the nose point, feeling I can't be bothered following the rules. Chin point, feeling unhappy and stuck. Collarbone point, feeling unhappy and stuck. Then underneath the arm, feeling I can't motivate myself to get things done. Now this feeling, has it got a number out of 10? If you're feeling lethargic, stuck, what number could it be? This stuck feeling, it's a number what? This lethargic state. Feeling this lethargy. I can't make progress. Remember, you have to repeat. I can't make progress. That doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel good at all. It causes much more annoyance. And that achieves little. Time to assert myself. Give my head a shake. Give it a shake. Move my body. Shrug my shoulders. Motivate myself and shift my mood. So wanting to feel better. Try and keep up. Try to copy the words. So wanting to feel better. Choosing to lift this feeling of being burdened. It just doesn't serve me. Asserting myself. Take a deep breath for this one. A deep breath in feeling stronger, feeling brighter, feeling motivated, feeling empowered to do stuff, to write a list, to get things done, feeling motivated, feeling lighter. What number do you feel now? If you feel re-energized a little or a lot, what number is it out of 10 now? This empowered feeling. Can you feel that you feel lighter and less burdened? Do you? And repeat, holding on to this feeling of feeling lighter. Ready to get stuff in order. Now, finish off the tapping points. And then close your eyes for a moment, please. Take 3 long, deep, releasing breaths. Sense a real feeling of empowerment within. And after your 3rd breath, I'm going to ask you please for a moment to stand up. Near your table, stand up please. Get into a space just beside you. And please follow my instruction. I want you to sense if your body has reinforced this feeling of empowerment. I want you to sense if you move forward a little, a fraction in a moment, or whether you sway ever so slightly backwards. So just stand. It'll be a gentle movement, a subtle sensation. We're going to do it now. Close your eyes and say this statement out loud. I feel stronger. Just say, I feel stronger. Do you have an awareness of a sensation of moving forward or swaying backwards? And we'll do another just to test it again. Close your eyes, be safe, stand still safe, and repeat. I feel lighter and less burdened. And please gently go to your seat. Perhaps you have an awareness of your body tilting forward. The body doesn't lie, or tilting backwards. And let's assume for tonight, if you went forward, that's a positive move. And a backward sway is a negative. You've got more work to do. There's too many blocks allowing your body to do its job if you were feeling better. If I can help you further, please do get in touch, because emotional strength is key to good physical health. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you, Susie.
I'm surprised I haven't got like red blobs all over me. I think I was tapping quite hard. That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Susan. And I'm sure Susan will put some links on the show. So if you want to find out more, she's got some great resources and videos that you should check out. So everybody, in the war of family separation, on the battlefield of divorce, always make sure that peace is your weapon of choice.